Hello, everyone. As you know, my name is Cindy Morgan-Jaffe, and I am the creator of the Positive Money Club. And today I'm going to do a class on 3 simple steps that you can take to get your financial affairs in order without the stress and overwhelm. Let me turn on the slides. Okay, so during our time together, we are going to clarify what it means to organize your financial affairs. We're going to connect to why it matters, and we're going to learn the simple steps. So, just 3 simple steps that you can take to make this all happen with some confidence and clarity and ease. A little about me. I am the founder of the Positive Money Club, and I have written a book called Positive Money: 7 Principles for Living a Rich Life No Matter What's in Your Bank Account. And I do help women, especially 50 plus, who are mission focused and really want to live and lead a legacy that they're proud of. And part of that is looking at their financial lives and getting them in shape. I've been a business owner. I'm for 30 years. I'm a parent of 5 children, a partner, gone through a divorce. I am a designer, facilitator. So I've done a lot of work in both the business world and the personal world, working with women around money mindset. Having said that, I am not a financial planner or advisor. Um, I'm not legally qualified to advise you on your finances. That's not what I'm here for. But I'm organizing, I have the Positive Money Club for women as an ongoing membership, and then I do these master classes, and I'm launching a Positive Money blueprint for organizing your financial affairs. It's a 90-day program that I run, and that is a space where we actually go through. There's a whole online course. I talk about that later in this presentation. So if you're interested in that, that will be covered. Okay, first of all, what is positive money? Positive money is a philosophy for living in relationship with money that feels good and leads to positive results. So the reason I wrote this book is that I personally had and have evolved my relationship with money from a place of scarcity to more of abundance, but it's a perspective that has been helped by having these 7 principles, which in lots of ways is giving me what I created them for is something that I can refer to as a framework, as an approach. So when I get to a financial decision and uh, indecision comes up, emotions come up, different ways in which I might stop myself from feeling like I can make a decision in a positive way, then I refer to these principles and they can be super helpful. So the 2 that we're going to talk about today are the very first one, which is that it is a choice. So whenever you're dealing with your financial life, you have moments of choice, of course, all the time, but some are more clear than others. And what this offers you is the choice to come from a place of love versus fear. So what that is on a spectrum. And it moves our brain from a place of scarcity and reactivity toward positivity and sort of more thoughtful action. So the second principle that we're going to work with today, although all apply, is the second principle of positive money is that positive money is generational. What this means is that we are aware of the beliefs and the behaviors that we inherit and that we also pass along. And we're more intentional about those actions today. All right, so what does this all mean for our estate planning and for our financial affairs? Well, the first thing I'd like you to think about while you're listening to this is what does organizing your financial affairs mean to you? Or just generally, when you hear that term, what does it mean? So take a moment to think about that. And while you do, I'm going to share what is a commonly described in the context of organizing your financial affairs. So this is a technical description, which is that it essentially means that you're organizing your estate, or we're looking at our estate uh, as a whole and thinking about the critical documents that are needed to make it easier to distribute our assets when something happens to us, when we're gone. It's also so that is helpful. It's a guide for the next generation, for others. It's also in our lifetime a helpful process for making decisions about as we look towards the last part of our lives. And then the second is that it is a process that makes um, the whole event of dealing with our affairs potentially way less costly, way less challenging. So this is really critical. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And then it also connects us right now into our state of our financial affairs in a way that is gives us some space and time to think about it not just as a practical matter, but as a matter of our own legacy. So, what are we passing along? What do we want to make clear? How are we leaving and living this legacy for others as role models? And finally, it just gives us an opportunity to check in and have a system for looking at what is the state of our affairs at any one time. For many of us, what I want to say here is that organizing our financial affairs, as much as it means something, it also brings up a lot of emotion and feeling and complicated um, ways in which we, of course, avoid it. We don't want to think about it. It brings up the concept of death and passing and mortality and all those lovely things that we would probably prefer not to think about. But when we do, there can be a real relief in it. So recently, in November of 2025, Michelle Singletary, who is a columnist for the Washington Post, wrote an article that it was all about estate planning and the question of what should our kids get, right? So the opportunity of Thanksgiving coming up and thinking about how are we having those conversations. But one of the things that she talks about is that fundamentally, she states that estate planning is the most loving thing that you can do for your family, is to take care of your affairs. So the most loving thing that you can do for your family. And I would agree. I think when we get to this point in our lives, when if we are really about uh, taking care and we care about others in our sphere, in our communities, this is truly one of the greatest and most positive actions that we can take. With that, the question I'd like to ask you as you're listening to this is to think about what the impact is of not taking action. So, there's a lot of data out there around the impact of not actually organizing our affairs. Uh, I pulled from a number of sources in this. For example, I'm going to read off of my notes. Here is that without a will or an estate plan, your assets will typically go through probate, for example, which is a court supervised process. And those costs can be between 3 and 8% of your estate value. So if you have an estate worth $500,000, that's around $15,000 to $40,000 that's going to not go to your loved one. So there are a variety of ways to protect yourself from going through probate. And again, I'm not the person to advise you on this, but there are trusts and things like vehicles like that, depending on where you live. So you should definitely look into that. And then a few other statistics out there are that when we are not dealing with our financial affairs, this means everything from our debt to just taking care of our needs, even if we're at the lower end of the spectrum, this can really affect our mental health. It can affect family health, family relationships, and it can have an impact on absenteeism at work. Um, there's all sorts of ways in which this worry, this concern, this lack of attention can really eat into our lives both emotionally, mentally, and practically. One story I want to tell in our own family is about Will. And Will was 28, and this happened several years ago, where we got a phone call from my sister. I have four sisters, and one of them called me and said that Will had been killed in a car accident. And it was, of course, just devastating news, unexpected, all of those things. And my sister has given me the permission to share Will's story, essentially the story about it, which is Will had lots of things organized. He was pretty together young man. However, they were not able to get into his phone, and so, or his computer, and that really led to some real costly and, emotionally challenging times in just dealing with the aftermath of his death. And so my sisters, we all know that we're not only dealing with the possibility of aging out in life, but of these kinds of emergencies where people that our loved ones are passing along, or we are gone in one way or another that is unexpected, and we leave people emotionally and also practically at a state where we would prefer it not to be that way. So the question for you, as you're listening to this, is what does stop you or stand in the way of you taking action around your financial affairs right now in your life? What is stopping you? And what I'd like you to do is just take a moment. If you want to pause this video, do whatever you want to access that information, because that is what is drawing you down. That's what's holding you back, clearly. For a lot of us, that is overwhelm, too many things going on, a sense that I can just put this off, someone else taking care of it. I had a student one time who said that her affairs were being taken care of by a financial advising firm. And so that was great. That's all really wonderful. And it did not include just regular everyday life of accounts, like just managing subscriptions and policies and just things like that, just keeping track of all of your financial transactions. And so organizing your affairs really does include that, if that's what you would like. It creates a fundamental system of awareness and practice. So if it's whatever is stopping you, typically it is, oh, my husband is taking care of that, or another firm is taking care of that, or I have all my stuff, but it's not all that organized. There's lots of ways in which we think this has to be perfect, or that we have an idea of what it means to organize our affairs. And because we're not going to do it perfectly, or because we are overwhelmed by it, we don't even get started. So what I'm going to do is, in the next several slides, is talk about simple ways to get started or to navigate the process so that it isn't so overwhelming or stressful. Okay, so your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to use the following steps to maximize the impact that you want to make on those that you care about most. So, are you in? If you are, let's keep going. Okay, the 3 simple steps. The first step is to clarify and manage expectations. The second step is to assess and accept where you are. And then finally, number 3 is to take supported action. And I use a cat here one, because I love cats. I love their independence, and I like that they have a way about them. Of course, many different personalities, but fundamentally, my experience with cats is that they really know what they want when they want it, and they kind of hang around. They do what they do, but when they know that there's an action to take, they take it. And otherwise, they're mostly pretty chill. And so I use the cat, if you can see CAT, as clarify and manage expectations, assess and accept, and then take supported action. So if you can remember cat, or if you like cats, hopefully that will help you. Okay, let's get to step number one, which is clarifying and managing expectations. This is your opportunity to think about when you're in a moment of thinking about this project, or thinking about your affairs, a will, or some powers of attorney, and so on. It's helpful to stop for a minute and just think about what your expectations are around it all. One of mine is pretty commonly, I should have done this already, or wow, if I don't do this right now, something really bad's going to happen. So these are beliefs or judgments. That a judgment might be that that's too complicated, or it's too expensive, or it takes too much time. These are all ways in which we are actually uh, creating in our mind the idea of why we're taking action or not action, and those are really about our expectations. It's behind that is, um, I really need to be on top of this. This is my job, all of that kind of thing. So please take a moment, if it helps, to pause this video to think about what are the expectations for yourself when it comes to taking care of this kind of, when I talk about it, I'm talking about a will or powers of attorney, getting all your keys in order, gathering your passwords, um, looking at just making sure that there's a letter that communicates uh, even the most fundamental of things, so that someone can come in and have access, even at the very least, into your email or your computer, that sort of thing. So, expectations for yourself, expectations for others, and expectations for your circumstances. Take a moment, write that down. Okay, to manage those expectations is all about setting boundaries. So you're setting them, you're protecting those boundaries, and you're respecting boundaries, whether they're for yourself or for others. So boundaries is something that I do training on, and I don't have time in this video, but I will talk. I do pretty regular training around boundaries, because money boundaries is one of the most important and effective ways of managing decision making around your finances. To give you an idea of what does it look like to have a healthy boundary helps us build and maintain healthy relationships with people, with situations and places, or with things. Okay, so it's really it's our navigation system, which is kind of, it's definitely related to our expectations, or our beliefs, our judgments. Those are all ways that we navigate in the world. And this slide is really a breakdown in how boundaries work. And I pulled this information from R1 Learning, which is a company that does a wonderful curriculum around all sorts of experts in different areas of mental health. And I particularly like this model because it's helpful to me, and hopefully it's helpful to you, that an external boundary, so that we kind of operate in two different ways. An external boundary is everything related outside of us. So it's how I interact with others physically, sexually, socially, materially, right? So that's all that outside stuff. So that's where you're interacting with a lawyer or an accountant or just a coach like myself, someone who's going to help you with this. So that's your external boundaries, how you interact with those. And then the internal boundaries is your values, your beliefs, and your emotions that are driving your behavior. So those two are very much about what are I really value, for example, my family, I value financial security. And so if I really am tuned into valuing financial security, if I didn't want to feel financially secure, I might not take action. But if it's something, and I know for me, I realized how much I was worried about not having my affairs in order, our affairs in order. So I took action finally, and it made all the difference. And part of that is because an internal boundary I have is that a sense of responsibility toward my family. Okay, so the next piece I want to just say is when we're dealing with overwhelm and stress, it's actually because these boundaries have been crossed. So, because of that, our sense of trust is gone, or control, or a sense of safety. So, this is where it comes right back to what stops us from taking action around organizing our affairs. It's really about that sense of clarity, lack of clarity around those boundaries and expectations. So, when we can get more clear, and actually, one of the principles of positive money is to align our head, heart, and our habit in a way that really feels clear, and then we take action from that spot. So this is your invitation to think about what is it that you would need to change either in your internal thinking or your external beliefs and behaviors that would help you get to take care of this, of your financial affairs, in a way that feels really good for you, but also is a consistent and long-term practice. All right, step 2 is to assess and accept where you are today. And I say this because we can get so wrapped up in a kind of a frenzy of life that we get lost in it, and so, or we pile on, oh, I should do more of that, and so on and so forth. So a big part of reducing that overwhelm is essentially to say, okay, where am I right now? And I'm just going to accept that. I'm just going to accept where I am today, and go from there. And then that can just be a big relief. If you just let go of the past and just be, okay, here's where I am today. So a practice that I preach in Positive Money is to, when you're choosing positive money, so accepting, assessing, accepting is essentially choosing positive money, is to pause, notice, and then choose. So this is a fundamental practice. It comes out of positive intelligence, positive psychology. It's very much a way to shift our brain from the back of our brain into the front of our brain. And so anytime you're, again, at this moment of sort of overwhelm or stress, or telling yourself all these things, and you want to just go get a cookie or take a walk or whatever, is to just sit with it, pause, and then notice how you're feeling with some empathy and understanding, and then just choose what you want to do next. So the part of positive money that where you're choosing is, remember that line that the scale from fear to love. So we're choosing more of a love, right? We're choosing more of a broader, abundant way of looking at this. So what I love to ask is, what does love look like here? And when you're accepting and assessing, you can say, okay, that's great. I am accepting out of what does love look like. I'm accepting that I'm having a hard time with this, or I'm accepting that thinking of my mortality is, I don't want to think about that, but it is something I know is true in my life. So I'm assessing all of the different ways that I'm overwhelmed, and then I'm also looking into, as a result of that, what do I really need right now, right? So when you ask what does love look like, you're actually tapping into what do you really need. And for some of us, we just need assurance, or we just need a hug, or we need to know that someone is there for us and available to help us. So this is your opportunity to think about what would love look like for you as you're going through this. Okay, step number 3. This should say step number 3. It says step number 2, but it is step number 3, is to take supported action. So once you're clear about what you need and you've reduced the overwhelm and the stress through just choosing how you want to act and really scanning your beliefs and the behaviors that are causing you to resist or have fear about this, once you're kind of in that mode of, okay, I can take some action, now you can consider the options ahead of you. And what I want to do is just present for you an option that Positive Money Club offers, which is to, I have a 90-day coaching program. It's a small group coaching program that I've run before. And it is essentially holds the space for you to go through the process of getting your financial affairs in order in 90 days or less. So what that means is that during the 90 days, we are in a group setting, and every week we meet and we are reviewing the process that I'm just going to talk about now, which is a blueprint for taking action. And I do coaching, and we just help each other through the process. And it's great. I love it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's involved and what's included in this big package, but let me just go through the basic blueprint first. So the blueprint is 5 different steps, and the first step is to leverage the power of positive money. I've talked about this in this talk already, about the power of pausing, noticing, and choosing, about having perspectives and principles that help you align your actions. So that positive money is generational. It's really building that awareness and tuning into that awareness that we are bringing things in from our past, and we are setting patterns, and we're role models for the future. So we don't live in a vacuum, basically. So this is a way that you're going to essentially dig more in and learn more about positive money. The second is to create a game plan. This is where we talk a lot about, what is your plan? Who are you going to hire? Who's going to be on your team? What are you going to do when? The third is you start to take action around gathering your most important documents first, whether those are wills or trusts or whatever those key documents are that you would need in case something happened to you or someone had to access those. And then the fourth step is to record and store key information. And this is really a fundamental practice of doing an inventory of all of your key accounts, any accounts, and making those updated and available in case someone would have to manage those. And finally, the final step is, how do you protect and communicate your wishes? And so we walk through just some of the ways that you will communicate those and work with family, and what are some of the challenges of that, and also strategies for overcoming that. So that's a blueprint. And what you get in the program is you get if you can see here on the left side, there's a box that is called a Knox box. It's a company that produces those boxes, and I am an affiliate, so I will include a link to that. And that is actually a bonus. It's included in the course. If you don't have one, we order one for you. If not, we discount the price from the full price of the program. I just love it. It's just a great company, and it has everything you need to just really feel organized. There's also, as you can see here, a whole online course that has been built that has modules to go through. It also has templates, and so you don't need a Knox box to get through this if you have one already, or you don't want to buy, have one. Um, they are really wonderful, but if you don't have one, I provide, or we provide templates for you to fill out or to use. And that course is on an online, a gamified platform. So what's great about that is that there are ways you can build points by taking action, and then the points um, earn you things like you can earn coaching from me and things like that. So it's a it's a great way to experience have a greater and more rewarding experience going through all of this. So the program itself this program starts January 22nd in 2026 and goes for 12 weeks. We're going to meet every week on Thursdays from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. As I mentioned, you will get a robust platform with access to materials, guidance, and support. And then one of the best things is that you get a money back guarantee and bonuses for early registration. So the money back guarantee is there's more detail behind it, but fundamentally, if you do the entire program, you've shown the work, you've done all the work, and you participated in at least, I think, 10 out of the 12 weekly programs. Essentially, you've done the work and you're just not happy with the program at the end, then we do offer you a full money back guarantee. So there's really almost no reason to not do it unless you're just not ready to take this step in your life. Okay, so this last link here is a link to the sales page for this program, and I am offering some special discounts for early registration. So if you sign up on the Positive Money Club site, if you subscribe or just go online and subscribe, I can send you, let me know personally that you have watch this video, then I can send you a link to some bonus offers and a coupon discount and that sort of thing. So please, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully this was helpful to you. And if there's anything else I can offer you, I will say that I encourage you to join the Positive Money Club membership for women. It's an ongoing membership. Information is on the website, but if we do it, you can just roll into the activities of that membership, where we meet every week for a workout session. We have hot seat coaching. I do regular workshops and so on. So if you're interested in that as well, please check it out at thepositivemoneyclub.com. And thank you so much for being here today.